Imagine you are standing in the middle of a vast desert. The sun blazes above you and the heat is unbearable. Your throat is parched, your feet sink into the scorching sand with every step. And no matter where you look, all you see is an endless stretch of golden dunes. The vastness of the desert makes you feel insignificant, a mere speck against the overwhelming forces of nature. You feel lost, exhausted, and hopeless. Each step forward feels like a battle against the elements. But then, in the distance, you spot an oasis, a glimmering pool of water surrounded by lush greenery. It seems almost too good to be true. Your heart fills with hope, and suddenly your legs, which felt like they could collapse at any moment, gain strength. Your mind sharpens, the fog of despair begins to clear, and your exhaustion fades as you push forward toward the oasis. What changed? The situation was the same. The desert was still vast, the sun still blazed, and you were still thirsty, but that small glimpse of hope fueled your spirit, giving you the power to move forward. This is the power of happiness. Life is full of ups and downs. Some days are bright, filled with success and joy, while others bring storms of uncertainty. But what if I told you that happiness isn't determined by your circumstances, but by your mindset? Today, we bring you a powerful story about John, a humble farmer who taught an entire village the true secret to happiness, one that remains unshaken even in the face of disaster. By the end of this story, you might just see your own struggles in a whole new light. Once upon a time in a small town in Texas, there lived a farmer named John. John was known for his ever-cheerful nature. No matter what happened, he never looked worried or sad. One day, a powerful storm swept through the town, destroying the crops of all the farmers. The townspeople were devastated. They stood in their fields, looking at the ruins of their hard work, feeling hopeless. But amidst all this sorrow, John was still smiling as if nothing had happened. Seeing this, the other farmers approached him and asked, "John, your crops are ruined just like ours. How can you still be so happy? Aren't you worried at all?" John chuckled and said, "What's there to worry about? Learn to let go of worry, my friends. Learn to smile through life's challenges." The farmers were puzzled. "But John, how can we be happy? We've lost everything. Our crops are gone. How will we feed our families? How will we survive? Doesn't anything ever make you anxious? How do you always stay so happy?" John replied, "Happiness is an art, my friends. Being at peace is a mindset." The farmers asked, "Can you teach us this art? Can you show us how to stay happy, even in difficult times?" John nodded. "Let me tell you a story from my childhood. Maybe it will help." He began, "When I was a young boy, I once traveled with my father through the forest on our way to the city. We had a cart full of produce to sell, and at that time we were struggling. Selling those crops was our only hope. However, as we traveled, night fell and a strong windstorm arose. The forest became dark and eerie, and to make matters worse, one of the cart's wheels got stuck in the mud. My father tried hard to free it, but it wouldn't budge. Exhausted and helpless, we sat there, hungry and afraid. The sounds of the wild animals echoed in the darkness, making me shiver with fear. I turned to my father and said, "Dad, I'm scared." He smiled and said, "Don't be afraid, son. I'm here with you." But his words didn't comfort me. The noises in the forest grew louder, and I felt more frightened. Finally, my father said, "We will spend the night here and try again in the morning." But that raised another problem. We had no food left. As we sat there, wondering what to do, we noticed a small cabin with a flickering light. My father told me to stay put while he went to seek help. I was terrified and sat there trembling. After a while, he returned with an elderly man who looked wise and calm. Together they managed to free the cart from the mud. Before we left, the old man handed my father a small piece of paper. I was curious and asked, "Dad, what's written on that paper?" But my father simply said, "It's not for you to worry about right now." Years passed, and I had forgotten about that night. One day, when I was struggling with life, I remembered the paper. By then, my father had passed away and I was feeling lost, unsure of my future. So I decided to open that note. It read, "This too shall pass." At first, I didn't understand it. So I went back to find the wise man who had given it to my father. I asked him, what does this mean? He smiled and said, "Time never stops. Whether good or bad, everything changes. No situation is permanent. When you're happy, remember it won't last forever. And when you're sad, remember that won't last either. Life moves on." That's when it hit me. I realized that all the worries I carried were unnecessary. If problems are temporary, then why waste my life worrying about them? Instead, I decided to keep working hard and enjoy the journey no matter the circumstances. From that day on, I chose to be happy. John looked at the farmers and asked, "Tell me, can you change the past?" "No," they replied. "Can you make it stop raining?" "No." "Can you stop the wind from blowing?" "No." Then why worry about things you cannot control? Worrying won't fix anything. If you can do something about a problem, take action. If you can't, let it go. Learn to enjoy life. Learn to stay happy. The farmers listened carefully and thought about what John had said. They realized he was right. Worrying wouldn't change their situation. Instead of drowning in sorrow, they decided to focus on what they could do next. They thanked John for his wisdom and went home with a new perspective on life. From that day forward, the town was never the same. Whenever someone faced a challenge, they reminded each other of John's lesson. This too shall pass. And just like that, they learned to smile through life's storms, knowing that no matter how tough things seemed, brighter days were always ahead. So from this we can learn that life is unpredictable. It will throw storms your way when you least expect them. You will face disappointments, betrayals, losses, and failures. The dreams you cherish may sometimes feel shattered beyond repair. And the people you trust may not always stand by your side. People will come and go, situations will change, and sometimes it will feel like everything is working against you. It is in these moments that your inner strength is truly tested. But in the midst of all of this, if you carry happiness in your heart, you will always have the power to keep moving forward. Happiness is not just a fleeting emotion that comes from success or material gains. It is a mindset, a choice, and a source of strength that allows you to face challenges without breaking. It is the fuel that keeps you resilient when the road gets tough. When the world tries to pull you down, happiness can be your greatest weapon, the force that lifts you back up and gives you the courage to keep going. Think of the happiest people you know. Are they the ones who never have problems? Number. They face hardships just like everyone else, but what sets them apart is their ability to maintain their happiness even in the face of adversity. They understand that happiness is not dependent on external situations, but rather on how they choose to perceive and respond to those situations. They have trained themselves to see the silver lining, to find the lesson in every failure, and to embrace each challenge as an opportunity for growth. A person who is genuinely happy does not crumble under pressure. Instead, they use their happiness as a weapon against negativity, as a shield against despair, and as a source of motivation to keep moving forward. Their ability to remain joyful does not mean they ignore pain or pretend that everything is perfect. Rather, it means they refuse to let negativity control them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that happiness comes after success. They tell themselves, "I will be happy when I get that job," "I will be happy when I buy that car," or "I will be happy when I achieve that goal." But the truth is, happiness is not a destination. It is the journey. If you cannot be happy with what you have right now, you will never be happy no matter what you achieve. There will always be another goal, another challenge, another obstacle. The key is to learn to be happy in the present moment, regardless of the circumstances, because that happiness will give you the strength to push through any difficulties that come your way. If you keep postponing your happiness, waiting for the perfect moment, you will spend your entire life chasing an illusion. True joy is found in embracing the present, in learning to love what you already have while striving for more. Happiness does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that pain does not exist. It means acknowledging the difficulties, but choosing to focus on what is good, what is possible, and what is within your control. It means refusing to let external situations dictate your internal state. The more you dwell on negativity, the more power it holds over you. But when you make a conscious choice to focus on joy, you regain control of your life. When you are happy, you think more clearly, make better decisions, and find solutions faster. A mind filled with negativity is clouded, weak, and vulnerable. It leads to rash decisions, poor judgment, and unnecessary suffering. But a mind filled with happiness is strong, focused, and unstoppable. It empowers you to rise above difficulties, to see beyond temporary setbacks, and to believe in your ability to overcome anything. Consider a person who loses their job. One person might fall into despair, convinced that their life is ruined, while another might see it as an opportunity to explore new paths. The situation is the same, but the mindset is different. The second person who chooses happiness will have the power to rise again, to learn new skills, to seek better opportunities, and to build a stronger future. The first person consumed by negativity will only sink deeper into their misery, making it harder to recover. This is why happiness is essential. It keeps you in control of your life no matter what happens. Life will never be without challenges, but the way you respond to them determines whether you will be defeated or whether you will rise stronger than before. Happiness is the force that helps you rise. There will always be reasons to be unhappy. Life is full of struggles, disappointments, and pain. There will always be things that do not go according to plan, but there will also always be reasons to be happy. A smile from a loved one, a beautiful sunset, the laughter of a child, the kindness of a stranger. Happiness is everywhere if you choose to see it. And when you make happiness a priority, you become unstoppable. You become a warrior who can face any storm with a smile, who can turn failures into lessons, and who can rise no matter how many times life knocks you down. Happiness is not about waiting for life to be perfect. It is about finding joy in the imperfections, about realizing that even in the darkest moments, there is something worth smiling for. The most powerful people in the world are not those who have everything, but those who can remain happy despite anything. They are the ones who turn obstacles into opportunities, who inspire others with their positivity, and who live life to the fullest, no matter the circumstances. And you have that power within you too. You do not need to wait for the world to be kind to you before you allow yourself to feel joy. Happiness is not something you need to find, it is something you need to create within yourself. The moment you decide to be happy, you gain the power to fight against anything that life throws at you. You become resilient, unshakable, and empowered. So, always be happy, because in that happiness lies your greatest strength, your ability to conquer any hardship, and your key to a life truly well lived. At the end, maintain a positive attitude to overcome challenges. If this video helps you, encourage us by subscribing to the channel to support us for more content like this. Thank you.